What do you need to survive a major earthquake? Maybe a flashlight? Some food? Oh, and what's that? A half-empty bottle of water. Great, we're surviving with this. Oh, no, wait. There's a whole list, actually. Personal medication, first aid materials, a battery-powered
radio, spare batteries, of course, food for 3 days in dust-proof packaging, a water bottle, a sleeping bag or blanket, clothing for a couple of days, hygiene products,
and so on and so on. Well, that's pretty exhaustive, and from what I've seen online, some people are not happy, wondering why Brussels is trying to scare us. So, have the EU bureaucrats become survivalism experts or preppers? Let's find out. What's up with this EU emergency bag? Why do we need it? And how can citizens have a say in all this? We'll tell you everything you need to know as we dive inside the files. Europe has faced a lot these last years. Floods, wildfires, storms, blackouts, cyber and drone attacks, and of course Russia's war against Ukraine, which opened many eyes. Europe needs to work together to prepare for and respond to emergencies. Whatever the situation, the best way to deal with it is to be prepared. The COVID pandemic is the best possible example for what happens when no one is prepared. Remember, people literally hoarded toilet paper instead of useful stuff. Now, you don't have to live in a shelter like in the Fallout universe, so what type of crises are the people in Brussels prepping for? Natural disasters. That's floods, wildfires, earthquakes, and extreme weather. Pretty obvious. But you also have health and human-induced crises. Pandemics, industrial accidents, and technological failures, less frequent, still happens. Then a new one, hybrid threats, cyber attacks or hostile drone spying on infrastructure. And finally, geopolitical crises, conflicts and potential threats to EU countries, unlikely but not unheard of. And unlike the threat of a nuclear winter, these are real issues. On a side note, even though a nuclear winter can only happen in theory, as it requires conditions that would not happen in real life, sorry to disappoint the Fallout fans, you get to agree that if you're prepared for the worst, you're prepared for everything. So, what's in this prepper plan? Or shall I say, preparedness strategy? First, we need to talk about this man. This is Sauli Niinistö. How do you pronounce that?
Niinistö.
Niinistö. This is the former president of the Republic of Finland. Because of issues in their neighborhood, Finns are very prepared. He was asked by the European Commission to find the answers to the following really easy questions. How can we get better at spotting risks early? How to prepare civilians and the military to have the right skills and tools needed to handle crisis? And how can we help EU citizens and society stay informed and alert? And so Mr. Niinistö made 80 recommendations that went into his prep plan. So let's look into it, and for once, it's mostly things that your country handles to prepare for catastrophes. Alright, let's start with some heavy stuff. Check this out. The first helicopter of a European fleet delivered to Romania in December 2025, ready for the wildfire season. Europe has also been buying these babies, 12 planes to form the Permanent RescEU fleet. There are also European strategic stockpiles, such as ventilators warehoused in Germany, Romania, Sweden. Like medical ventilators, not the spinny ones, because they turn out to be pretty crucial when facing diseases. But also critical drugs and vaccines, generators, shelters, you name it, Europe stockpiles it. And it goes on. What matters is that the society keeps on running at all times. Oh, and of course, there is the bag. What's that all about? Europe wants to make sure you are self-sufficient for a minimum of 72 hours. Will you happen to be cut off from essential supplies? Now, like often in Europe, each and every country has its own view on this. Unsurprisingly, the countries closest to Russia seem to be the best prepared. Poland, Sweden, Finland, Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia have all recently updated their crisis information for citizens. France, for example, calls for a 72 hours emergency kit that includes food, water, a flashlight, spare batteries, chargers, cash, copies of important documents, including medical prescriptions, spare keys, warm clothes, and basic tools such as utility knives. I know that's not a utility knife, however, I guess it's good enough to cut some saucisson, which, by the way, is surprisingly not inside the French survival kit. Anyway, the EU's goal is to have guidelines shared by the 27 member states. So at least everybody is ready to pack in case of an emergency. Now, you might be wondering how much this kit can be personalized to fit your needs. I don't care if a nuke goes off, this mustache will stay trimmed. Or what about, I don't know, the European health insurance card? I don't see it in the kit. All Europeans are invited to join the debate on what should be in the bag. There is something called a citizens panel. 150 randomly selected Europeans invited to Brussels to talk about Prepper's plan. Then, at the end of 3 weekends, the panel shares their vision and priorities with EU lawmakers. Now, they are not binding. Not everyone knows what can or can't be done on the European level, but still, these panels work quite well. We'll talk more about the citizens panels in another episode of Inside the Files. So now you know why Europe is preparing a prepper bag. And if you're watching this video and wondering about other weird things you have seen on the internet, let me know in the comments so I can dive into some more files. Links and all sources will be in the description. As always, see you!